Happy Saturday, Quest for Thunder. It is Saturday the 6th of October, and once again we find ourselves at the boat. As I've previously mentioned, I think we work on the boat mostly on Saturdays and Sundays because we work full-time during the week, and by the time we get done in the evenings it's pretty late, and so we only get a chance to get out here on the weekends. So every now and then, you know, we'll get a day off or whatever, and we'll spend it at the boat. But for the most part, it's weekend work. So here we are at the boat again. It's taken a long time because it's just weekends, but we did get some help with some of the projects around here from Ted Tompkins. Is a great handyman. He's in the local area, and he's been a real blessing. We've been able to move forward on a number of projects because of his help that we would still be struggling over, and it's given us opportunity to move into other areas. So anyway, what are we doing today? Well, today we continue to work in the heads. We've removed a good bit of the stuff in the heads that we are going to discard, that we have discarded, in anticipation of replacing it with new stuff. We're still trying to make some decisions as to what we're going to do with the paint scheme in there, whether we're going to paint, what we're going to do about the counters. I think right now, I think the general consensus at the moment is to leave the counters the way they are, just clean them up and change them out later, because we just want to get kind of moving along here. They do clean up pretty well, so I mean they're not Corian or granite or anything like that. They're just a laminate, but they clean up pretty good. So we may just do that. But today had to cut off some bolts or screws that penetrated the side of the couch roof. So just used a Dremel tool. This is the Dremel tool here. It's dirty, and a little cutting disc, and just took it to those screws where they had penetrated through the bulkhead and cut them off as flush as I could get them, so that I can smooth out that surface and prepare it for priming and painting. And that was back in the head, so we'll go back there and take a look and see what we did here. So I'm not sure you can see that, but right here is one of those screw heads, and I've taken it down to what I think is flush. It's hard to tell with this fairing compound around it. There's another one there, and there was one right there. So I believe there were three. 1, 2, 3. And no, was that one too? Can't remember. Oh yeah, one right there. So there was 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a block or something out there that's mounted through here that the screws penetrated straight through the fiberglass side of the couch roof. So anyway, ground those down. I'm gonna fill this area with some filler and see how that goes. I'll sand it down first, fill it with some filler and see if it's smooth, so that we can get some primer on this and get moving forward on this project. So that's what we did in there. So for today it's going to be more of that sort of thing. Got some more sanding to do. Oh, glorious sanding and prep work. There's the bowl and the faucet in the forward head that still needs to come out, so may tackle that today and get that out of here, and we'll see what kind of time we have, but that's the plan for the day. Pretty much a repeat of the last couple of times. You know, like I said, it's slow going, so we'll catch up with you in a little bit. Okay, so we were able to finish up the sanding in the aft cabin in the head, and so then we moved in here This is the forward cabin head, and the head for the salon. And as you can see, there's no sink, there's no faucet, there's no mirror. Although there is writing on the wall, I don't get that, but there's writing on the wall. And there's still an old toilet right there. That's going to get removed and replaced with a new nice marine head. Nice and clean and nice and neat. Yes. So anyway, we've removed most of the stuff out of here that needs to be removed. Primed and taped off and primed this and ready for paint. So just need to remove that light fixture and replace it with a different light fixture. We're going to go with a different kind of light fixture. I'm thinking that we're going to use this fixture here. We're going to replace those with this fixture, this type right here. I think this is a nicer fixture. So we'll put that in there. It's also LED. It's an LED fixture, whereas this old fixture, let me get this door open. This old fixture here is a fluorescent light, so we replace that. Anyway, yep. A little bit of progress on the forward head. So the aft head and the forward head are now both completely, well, they're demoed. Not completely, but almost completely. Okay, well, we were able to get pretty much all the sanding done, and then Gene got in there and sanded it to 180 grit. So we're pretty much close to primer in the heads. There was another little project that needed to do. We have this section in the galley that's up near one of the port lights. I'll show you here in a second. But we used to have, as you can see behind me, you can see the bulkheads here. These bulkheads used to be covered with about a 1/4 inch piece of plywood that had like a teak veneer on it, and so when we got the boat, there were there was a lot of damage to those panels because there had been leaking, and it was left to sit, and so they rotted away, and so we had to remove them. And over here in the galley, I'll show you. There's a section right here. You can see. Oops. You can see there where all that Bondo is. Well, what that is, what's going on there, is there's a piece of wood, part of that panel, that we could not get out because we just couldn't get a tool in there to cut it away very well. And so what we're having to do is build up this section of the fiberglass with a filler to match the edge of that wood, and then what we'll do is we'll sand it all down, and then we paint it, and you won't even know it was there. This is the second application of filler. It's very difficult to work in that space, but that's what we're doing. That was another part of the project today, was to try to get in there and fair that. So that was more Bondo work today. Also in the back here on the aft head, I was telling you about those screws that penetrated through the bulkhead. Those screws were right there where you see that filler, and so what I had to do is I really had to grind them down below the level of the fiberglass, which left gouges in the fiberglass there. So I had come back in here and add some filler over those areas to smooth that out. So that's what we did there. So hopefully soon this will be ready for paint, although I can see a couple of spots here now that she's sanded this down to 180 where it needs some more sanding, otherwise it's going to be bumpy. So right there, right here, I'm going to have to hit this with I'm going to take this down a little bit more. That's unfortunate. Let's see if that situation exists out here. No, out here it seems pretty good. Now a couple little spots right there, right here, right here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go over this more too. Darn it. Yeah. Oh well. It's the way it goes, I guess. Okay, well, Questers, thank you for tuning in today. That wraps it up for today. We were able to get some more more of the heads done. We still need to do some fine tuning in there. Unfortunately, when I sanded down on the coarse grit, there was some spots I missed, and they didn't become evident until Gene went over it with 180 grit. So got to go back through there. This is going to be a semi-gloss oil-based enamel, and so whenever I put that on there, any little imperfections like that are going to show up big time. So the surface has got to be near perfect, otherwise it's going to look like crap. So unfortunately, it means some more sanding and maybe even a little more filling. I don't know. Also worked on that little section by the port light in the galley. Try to get that built up so we can get that sanded down and then get that painted. And then we disassembled the rest of the stuff in the forward head, the shower, the faucet, the sink bowl, and I cleaned up a bit, the bulkheads a bit, rough sanded them. So we talked about what we want to do in there, and we're going to paint those raw bulkheads where we faired them. We're going to paint them with that green color paint that Gene picked out, and the rest of the walls we're going to leave them white, but we are going to rough sand and prime and repaint all those walls with an oil-based semi-gloss paint to make them nice and shiny and white and bright. So that's what we're going to do in there. We weren't real sure what we were going to do with those bulkheads, but that's the story. Also, with the sinks and all that, what we've decided is that we're probably just going to leave those out for the time being. The showers and the sinks and the faucets, because we ultimately do want to change those countertops in the bathroom, in both the heads and also in the kitchen. So we're kind of like, well, the heads are really a low priority. We can still use the boat day trips and stuff like that without sinks in the heads, as long as the sink in the kitchen is working. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to leave those alone for a while, and once we're ready to put new counters in, then we'll put new counters in there and then put the new sinks and faucets in. We're going to switch our attention once we're finished working in the heads, painting them all out and just neaten them up and get them nice. We're going to switch our attention to the floor. So the next big project will be removing the sole in the main salon and a small portion in the aft cabin. So that ought to be interesting. Getting that out should be a real trick. Real curious to see what's underneath once those boards come up, because there's a lot of those, a lot of space underneath that there's no access. There's no access panels, no access. They're just boards. And so, be interested to see what's under there. Hopefully it's not anything bad. It is a 35-year-old boat, by the way, after all. So anyway, again, thank you for tuning in this week. I know it wasn't very exciting, but these are the things that you have to do to make the boat what you want it. And so that's what we're doing. We're working on it. And anyway, so again, thank you. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. Please share these videos with family, friends, acquaintances, and give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. Talk to us. Tell us what you think. If you have any suggestions about anything, you can leave it in the comments. We read them all. And we look forward to our next episode, which will be next Saturday. So until then, from the Crew of Thunder, fair winds and following seas. Bye.